Take a deep breath. Here you go. Feel yourself in the room. Close your eyes. And the magic trance will bring out the wise wizard of wonder. With a fiery horse and the speed of light and a cloud of mist, the daring and resourceful wise wizard of wonder leads the fight for spoken word in the present moment. So return first now. The wise wizard recites again.
Well, you know, a trick has just been played upon me. There was a basket here. Boys, where's the basket? I can't control all of the magic all of the time. Well, stand by, Taylor. I couldn't possibly make a selection of all the poets that were fighting to be heard today. So what I've done is I have a card, and the name of the poet and the first few words of the poem are on here. I have no idea, so start passing them out rapidly. Now, where's Jim? I did hear the flute, and while they're being passed, let's go with a poem. Let's get you started, though. This is by Tom Hansen, who was a former poet, a poet laureate of Nebraska. He said, once below time, I'd like to think it still exists. Atlantis, Avalon, Eden, that mythical kingdom where time stood still, holding its breath and slowly counting from 1 to 1900 and something. A land below waves, always just beyond the setting sun, where the moon is round and full of unspoken promises, where our little boat goes down from great deep to great deep. Let us sail away then, across that gulf that leads to the edge of the world. Perhaps we'll drown, or grow too old to dream, or come to ourselves once again in a land below time. Thank you, Jim. Now, guys, with the applause, you can laugh, you can giggle, and you can applaud. If you're sitting here wondering for the first time you've ever been to something like this, well, just relax, because it's my first time, too. Now, don't be put off by the color of the card. Sometimes a $30 poem is on a red card, or a $2 poem could be on a red card. So I'm just going to do this. What do you have on your card? Yeah, pointing at you. Oh, what a way to begin. What a way to begin. Let's see, where is Naomi? There she is. There she is. I thought I would bring the poets into the room so that you would have a chance to see what they look like, how they're just human beings like you and I. Huh? So, kindness. Before you know what kindness really is, you must lose things. Feel the future dissolve in a moment like salt in a weakened broth. What you counted, what you held in your hand, what you counted and carefully saved, all this must go so you know how desolate the landscape can be between the regions of kindness. Before you learn the tender gravity of kindness, you must travel where the Indian in a white poncho lies dead by the side of the road. You must see how this too could be you, how he too traveled through the night with plans and the simple breath that kept him alive. Before you know kindness as the single deepest thing inside, you must know sorrow as the other deepest thing. You must wake up to sorrow. You must speak to it till your voice catches the thread of all sorrows and you see the size of the cloth. Then it's only kindness that makes sense anymore. Only kindness that ties your shoes and sends you out in the day to mail letters and purchase bread. Only kindness that lifts its head above the crowd of the world and says, it is I you have been looking for, and stays with you always like a shadow or a friend. Yeah. Gwen O'Gara, what do you have? Juan Ramon Jimenez. There he is. We're doing a dark visage. I am not I. He said, I am not I. I'm this one walking beside me, whom at times I manage to visit and whom at other times I forget. The one who forgives sweet when I hate. The one who takes a walk when I'm indoors. The one who remains silent when I speak. The one who will remain standing when I die. I am not I. I'm this one walking beside me, whom at times I manage to visit and whom at other times I forget. Random, who raise your hand if you want and shout it out, my dear. What do you got? Okay, this is for the men. This is for the men. Bill Holm was a Minnesota poet. Men. Someone dances inside us who knows only a few steps. The do your work in 4/4 time and the what did you expect waltz. He hasn't noticed the woman standing away from the lamp with black hair who knows the rumba and jumpy rhythms from the mountains of Bulgaria. If these two dance together, something unexpected will happen. If they don't, the next world will be a lot like this one. Yes.
My life is not this by Rilke.
Oh, yeah. Rilke said, my life is not this steeply sloping hour in which you see me hurrying. Much stands behind me. I stand before it like a tree. I'm but one of my many mouths, and at that the one that will be still the soonest. I am the rest between two notes, which are somehow always in discord, because death's note wants to climb over. But in that dark interval, reconciled, they stay there trembling, and the song goes on, beautiful. Richard, what do you have?
Wallace Stevens, supple and
Oh. Well, Wallace Stevens, poor guy. He was an insurance actuary. He wore a tie and jacket every day and carried his lunch in a plain paper bag that he had fixed. And his language is fantastic. This is verse number 7 from a poem called Sunday Morning. Supple and turbulent, a ring of men shall chant in orgy on a summer morn. Their boisterous devotion to the sun, not as a god, but as a god might be, naked among them as from a savage source. Their chant shall be the chant of paradise, out of their breath returning to the sky. And in their chant shall enter, voice by voice, the windy lake wherein their Lord delights, the trees like seraphim, and the echoing hills that choir among themselves long afterward. They shall know well that heavenly fellowship of men that perish and of summer morn, and whence they come and whither they shall go, the dew upon their feet shall manifest. Cynthia. Well, and doesn't it? Lord, the air smells good today, says Rumi. You know, I have Hafez and Rumi and Kabir with this dancing, whirling dervish. Because in the Islamic tradition, it would not have been proper to make a painting or a photograph of these three. And I deliberately hung him up next to Coleman and Robert, who did so much work on bringing Rumi forward. So, Lord, the air smells good today. Straight from the mysteries within the inner course of God. It's a grace like new clothes thrown across the meadow. Free medicine for everyone. The trees in prayer, the birds in praise, the first blue violets kneeling. Whatever came from being is caught up in being, forgetting the way back home. But one man turns and feels his birth pulling separate from the others. Now he fills with light and the colors change here. He drinks it in and everyone becomes wonderfully drunk, shining with his beauty. I can't honestly say I feel the pain of others when the world seems so sweet. Anyone still sober on a day like this must be afraid of people, afraid of what they'll think. Enough talking. If we eat too much greenery, we'll smell like vegetables. Way in the back.
Jose Harris, there comes a time in your life.
Oh, yeah. Jose Harris. I've never been able to chase him down, but these are his words. There comes a time in your life when you walk away from all the drama and the people who create it. You surround yourself with people who make you laugh. Focus on the good, forget the bad. Love the people who treat you right and pray for those who don't. Life is too short to be anything but happy. Falling down is part of life. Getting back up is living. Yeah, yeah. Yes. Yes.
Antonio Machado, I have walked along many roads.
Oh, yes. Antonio Machado, up here in the corner. Okay. Antonio Machado said, I have walked along many roads and open paths through brush. I've sailed on 100 seas and tied up on 100 shores. And everywhere I've gone, I've seen excursions of sadness, angry and melancholy drunkards with black shadows, and academics in their off-stage clothes who look and say nothing and think they know because they don't drink wine in ordinary bars. Evil men who walk about polluting the earth. And everywhere I've gone, says Machado, I've seen men who dance and play when they can and work the few inches of ground they have. When they show up somewhere, they never ask where they are. When they take a trip, they ride on the backs of old mules. They don't know how to hurry, not even on holidays. They drink wine if there is some, if not, cool water. These men are the good ones who love and work and walk and dream. And on a day no different than any other, they lie down beneath the earth. Yes. And we know those men. Yes. Yes.
Christine Walker, on hearing a poem recited but not read.
Well, thank you, Tara. Christine Walker is a local poet, and she attended one of Larry Robinson's poetry bashes, a salon that he has, and she went home and wrote this poem. On hearing a poem recited, not read, the poem flew at me, little darts pricking my skin, piercing my eyes, my arms, my belly, flew at me on swift black wings, trailing a smoky blur past my ear. No words sounded like words read from a page. They had been lifted last night, last year, flipped up word by word, letter by letter, let fall on the tongue like melting snowflakes, trickling down through the heart, into the belly, into the fingertips, the toes, pulled back through the blood, through the brain, into the cheeks, and spit out little darts of words, great wings of words, charging the air around me. There were no words, only language. Tongue, moved by muscle and blood, the poem entered me and exited, leaving me with little points of pain and soft, feathery touches on my skin and hair, leaving me empty of words. How we doing, okay? I'm going to look at my watch. I will go for maybe another 20 minutes and then take a 20-minute break. How's that? So, let's go. Back row. Oh, you would. Rumi says, all day I think about it, and at night I say it. Where did I come from, and what am I supposed to be doing? My soul is from elsewhere, I'm sure of that, and I intend to get back there. But this spiritual drunkenness began in some other tavern. When I get back around to that place, I'll be completely sober. Meanwhile, I'm like a bird from another continent, sitting in this aviary. The day is coming when I fly off, but who is it now in my ear? Who hears my voice? Who says words with my mouth? Who looks out with my eyes? What is the soul? If I could taste one sip of an answer, I'd break out of this prison for drunks. I didn't come here of my own accord, and I won't leave that way. Let whoever brought me here take me back. This poetry, I don't plan it. When I'm outside the saying of it, I grow very quiet and hardly speak at all. Yeah. So, folks, every poem that I've taken in has been sometimes a teacher or a mentor, or it scared the bejesus out of me. Niggles me to grow a bit, or slow down, Doug. So who knows? What do you have, Kate? Oh, I love this poem. Is David up there? Yes. Oh, yeah. He's looking pretty dour, but his poem is called Bugs in a Bowl. Han Shan, that great and crazy Chinese poet, 1,000 years ago said, we're all like bugs in a bowl, all day going around and around, never leaving the bowl. I say that's right. Every day climb up the side, slide back down. Sit in the bottom of the bowl, head in your hand, weep, moan, feel sorry for yourself. Or look around. See your fellow bugs. Say, hey, how you doing? Say, hey, nice bowl. Say, how you doing? Say, yes, yes. Okay. Yes. Oh, I love that so much I put it up on a bigger poster. Oh, there it is. You can enjoy it later if you wish. You are song, a wished for song. Go through the ear to the center, where wind is, where sky, where silent knowing. Put seeds, cover them. Blades will sprout where you do your work. Chandra, do you have a poem? Yes. Mathilde de Magdeburg, say that 3 times and it's yours, was a contemporary of Hildegard von Bingen. And this little poem is a translation by Stephen Mitchell. She said, effortlessly, love flows from the divine into man like a bird that rivers the air without moving its wings. Thus, we move in the divine world, one in body and soul, though outwardly different in forms. As the source strikes the note, humanity sings. The Holy Spirit is our harpist, and all strings touched in love must sound. Yeah, love is what it's about, folks. Yes? Yeah. When something enormous happens, huh? I have the feeling, says Juan Ramon Jimenez, I have the feeling my boat has struck down there in the depths against a great thing. And nothing happens. Ocean, waves, nothing happens. Or has everything happened? And we are now standing quietly in the new life. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Larry Robinson, ace friend, what do you have?
Antonio Machado's portrait.
Oh, that's a biggie. That's a biggie. And I love this poem. Once upon a time, Robert Bly, who translated this poem, put me on the spot with a very, very, very famous Jungian therapist and said, Doug, recite that poem for him. Here we go. My childhood is memories of a patio in Seville and a sunlit garden where lemons are growing yellow. My youth, 20 years on the earth of Castile. A few things I lived there, you'll forgive me for not mentioning. A great seducer I was not, nor the lover of Juliet. The oafish clothes I wear can tell you that. But the arrow Cupid planned for me, I got. And I loved whenever woman found a home in me. A strong flow of leftist blood moves in my body. But my poems rise from a calm and deep spring. There is a man of rule who behaves as he should, but more than him, I am in the good sense of the word, good. I adore beauty. And following modern thought, I've picked a few old roses at the garden at Romsard, but these new lotions and feathers are not for me. I'm not one of the blue jays who sing so well. I dislike the chorus of crickets that warble of love and the hollow tenors that sing to the moon. I fall silent so as to separate voices from echoes. And I listen always among the voices for one voice and only one. Am I classic or romantic? Who knows? I want to leave my poems behind like a fighter leaves his sword, known for the masculine hand that closes around it, not the coded mark of the proud forger. You know, I talk always to the man who walks beside me. Men who talk to themselves hope to talk to God someday. My soliloquies amount to conversations with this friend who taught me the secret of loving human beings. Now, in the end, I owe you nothing. You owe me what I've written. With what I earn, I pay for my coat and hat, the clothes the food I feed my body. I'm having a moment. A beautiful child has just walked by. A poem just went through. So I'll start. In the end, I owe you nothing. You owe me what I've written. With what I earn, I pay for my clothes and hat, the food I give my body, the room in which I sleep. And when that day comes, for the last leaving of all, and that ship that never returns to port is ready to go, you'll find me on board, light with few belongings, nearly naked like the children of the sea. That was one of the last poems he wrote too. Renee, what do you have? Did you?
Wrote it for you. Everything that touches us.
Oh, yes. And it's like this when we all look at a beautiful sunset or a sunrise catches us together. What's the first line?
Everything that touches us.
Yes, everything that touches us, you and I, takes us together like a violin's bow and draws one note from two separate strings. Along what instrument are we all spanned? And what musician holds us in his hands? Oh, sweetest love. Yes, yes. Yes, please. It's Kay. Say it again. Oh, okay. All you have to know is that the phrase Tattvam Asi is Sanskrit, and it means thou art that. Tattvam Asi, thou art that. And it's a jump rope rhyme, but I insist you stay in your seats, okay? Tattvam Asi, thou art that leaf, that tree, that cow, that cat, that cloud, that sky, that moon, that sun, that you, that I, for all are one, So here we are, and there we go, and who we were, we hardly know. I think that I am only me, a drip, a drop, but not the sea. Yet when I wake from all these dreams, then like a snake, I'll shed what seems this mask, this skin, this ball and chain, and I'll begin to fall like rain. The heart's last home, the wind with foam, the sweet deep sea, Tatavam Asi. Just the moving finger just there. Do you have a poem? Yes, says William Stafford. Yes. And I heard this the first time from my friend Richard Nagel. William Stafford said, yes, it can happen anytime. Earthquake, tornado, Armageddon, it could happen. Or sunshine, love, salvation. It could, you know. That's why we wake and look out. No guarantees in this life, but some bonuses, like morning, like noon, like right now, like evening. William Stafford. Now, a story is in the world about William Stafford writing a poem every day. And that's true. Once upon a time, it was in Wisconsin, I shared a big dormitory room with William Stafford. He was on the cot way over there, and I was on a double bunk over here. And I would wait till William Stafford was teaching across the campus. And then I would sneak back and open up his notebook and read. And I think, oh my God. And he did a fresh poem every day. Yes. So, who's got another poem? I think it's Tom's wife. Yeah, there is a thread you follow. There is a thread you follow. It goes among things that change, but it doesn't change. People wonder what things you are pursuing. You have to explain about the thread, but it's hard for others to see. While you hold it, you cannot get lost. Now, tragedies happen. People get sick and die, and you suffer and grow old. Nothing you do can stop time's unfolding, but you never let go of the thread. And I know many of you in this room that you've hung on to that thread and followed it. Yes. And it's still there. Yes, sir. Okay. Robert Bly. I owe so much to that man. Yes. Don't get bogged down, Doug. Think in ways you've never thought before. Robert Bly is a madman, and who was a madman. And he's still probably watching me now and say, Doug, don't do that. Think in ways you've never thought before. When the phone rings, think it's carrying a message larger than anything you've ever heard. Vaster than 100 lines of Yeats. Think that someone is about to bring a bear to your door, perhaps wounded and deranged. Think that a moose has risen out of the lake and is carrying in his antlers a child of your own, whom you have never known. When someone comes to your door, think they're about to give you something large. Tell you you're forgiven. Or it has been decided that you don't have to work all the time. Or if you lie down, no one will die. One last poem, and we'll take a break. Taylor Lamson, did you get a...
I actually just pulled this out randomly. It's by you.
What? What is it?
And I know how humble you are, but this is called True North.
I promise you, he is not a shill. I had no idea that it is the first poem in Gratitude Goulash. How's that for an advertising? Huh? So it's called True North. That other compass you bought in the city is no good to you now. Before darkness comes, give it away. Pause in your confusion. Say, I'm lost. Say, where is my life waiting? Say, I want an answer. Then, in the gathering dusk, some quiet part of you may begin to open. Call it your inner compass rose. Call it the home of your true north, as constant as Polaris in the night sky. If there is an aroma faint on the evening breeze, take a grateful breath and move in that direction. Your road will be there, shining in the moonlight. Say, thank you for this blossoming. Your compass rose has opened.
All righty. Hey, well, that was quite a juicy beginning, and we're only halfway through. You still got it in you, old man?
Yes.
Try coughing into it,
I was planning to go to 10 o'clock tonight.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't see how you can even go 2 hours, but we're glad you can. So anyway, welcome back. And as they say, he's doing this as a benefit for Peacetown. And Peacetown's kind of gotten to be known as kind of the concerts that we have in the summertime. But really it's about the principles of peace, which are written on the back. And the first one is, peace already exists within each individual as your natural state of being. And then the ways of being in Peacetown, if you can do the first three, be kind, be happy, be grateful, that's a good start, eh? And because when you do that, you live you live poetry, and a living raconteur of poetry, Mr. Doug von Koss.
Thank you. If you check my volume, okay, that's pretty good. I hope it's good for you. Well, I'm looking at the wall, and I have not this Yehudi Amachai or Rafael Jesus Gonzalez, and Gwendolyn McEwen has a dynamite poem, but not yet. So, Gretchen, what poem do you have?
Well, Doug, I have Rumi, the tender words.
Gretchen is my landlady, the leaseholder, okay. Gretchen, Rumi says, the tender words we've said to one another are stored in the secret heart of heaven. One day, like rain, they'll fall and spread, and our mysteries will grow green across the world. It's a perfect poem for her. She's an avid gardener. Oh, yes. Okay, who's got a poem? Yes. Yeah, Antonio Machado. Last night as I was sleeping, I dreamt, oh marvelous error, that a spring was here inside my heart. Along what secret aqueduct are you flowing to me? Waters of a new life I've never tasted. Last night as I was sleeping, I dreamt, oh, marvelous error, that a beehive was here inside my heart, and the golden bees were making white combs and sweet honey from my old failures. Last night, as I was sleeping, I dreamt, oh, marvelous error, that a sun was here inside my heart. It was the sun because it gave warmth as if from a hearth. And it was the sun because it brought tears to my eyes. Last night as I was sleeping, says Machado, I dreamt it was God I had here inside my heart. Rumi, these spiritual window shoppers. I can say that because I was one once upon a time. These spiritual window shoppers who idly ask, how much is that? No thanks, just looking. They handle 100 items and put them down. They're shadows with no capital, when what is spent is love and two eyes wet with weeping. Now these enter a shop, a mosque, a church, a synagogue, a temple, an ashram, and their entire lives pass suddenly in that moment. Well, where did you go? Nowhere. Well, what did you have to eat? Nothing much. Rumi says, if you don't know what you want, buy something just to be part of the exchanging flow. Start a large, foolish project like Noah. It makes It makes absolutely no difference what people think of you. Okay, poem. Who's- the gentle little poem. Pablo Neruda said, and if each day falls within each night, there is a well of light where clarity is revealed. Sitting on the edge of the well of shadow, one can fish for fallen light with patience. Yes. Yes.
So I have Raphael Jesus Gonzalez. Song for meeting a friend. Friend, your eyes are.
Yes. Jeff, would you come up here, please? Just look in my eyes. This is Raphael Jesus Gonzalez. Friend, your eyes are perforated mirrors. In them I see myself and beyond. Your heart holds flowers, feathers, pieces of jade. Your mouth holds the sound of song, the smell of flowers. On your feet is the dust of paths leading through darkness, of paths leading to light. Friend, each of us have traveled long distances. Our hands have longed to touch. Friend, I recognize you, your face, your heart, for what has been. Gratitude for what is now. Joy for what will be. Yes. Yeah. Rafael Jesus Gonzalez. I feel like I need to come out swinging every time. Raphael is a retired professor of English at Laney College, a dear, sweet man, Raphael Jesus Gonzalez. So another poem. What do you have? Yeah. Alden Nolan, a Canadian poet, and Father's Day is coming up next month, so I threw it into the mix. Alden Nolan said, just now I heard my father singing an old song he used to sing when his hands were busy doing something else, as mine were when I heard that voice. Just now, I heard my father's laughter. That too came from my mouth. Oh, I dropped one line. I want to go back and pick it up. Just now, I heard my father singing an old song he used to sing when his hands were busy doing something else. He's been dead for 24 years. Just now, I heard my father's laughter. That too came from my mouth. Yeah. Again? Yes. Ah, yes. And the jasmine is blooming right now. The poem goes, the wind, one brilliant day, called to my soul with the aroma of jasmine. And the wind said, in exchange for the aroma of my jasmine, I want all the fragrance of your roses. I have no roses, All the flowers in my garden are dead now. Then the wind said, I'll take the waters from the fountain, the dried leaves and the withered petals. And the wind left, and I wept. And I said to my soul, what have you done with the garden entrusted to you? Yeah. Or the garden of friendship, or the garden of, just fill it in. We're human. Yes, Tom. Yeah. Wendellberry. We clasp the hands of those who go before us and the hands of those who come after. We enter the little circle of each other's arms and the larger circle of lovers whose hands are joined in a dance, and the even larger circle of all beings passing in and out of life, who also move in a dance to a music so subtle and vast, no ear hears it except in fragments. Yes, Jeff? Oh, yeah. This is not the age of information. This is not the age of information. Forget the news, the radio, the blurred screen. This is the time of loaves and fishes. People are hungry, and one good word is bread for 1,000. Call and response. This is not the age of information.
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 Forget the news.
Forget the news.
The radio, the blurred screen.
The radio, the blurred screen.
This is the time of loaves and fishes.
This is the time of loaves and fishes.
People are hungry.
People are hungry.
And one good word is bread for 1,000.
And one good word is bread for 1,000.
Yes, yeah. I miss you over here. What do you have?
Somebody took my card.
Oh,
It was Robert Crowley, but I can't remember. It was something about love. Oh, yes, love comes quietly.
oh, I love that poem. Yes. Actually, this poem was the first poem I learned as a sober man about 45 years ago. The poem goes, love comes quietly, finally, drops around me, on me, in the old way. What did I know? Thinking myself able to go alone all the way. Yes. Yes, Jim.
All right, Mary Oliver, I like this one. Wild geese, you don't have to be good.
Yeah. There's Mary. There's Mary. Wild geese. Mary said, you don't have to be good. You don't have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only need to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. You tell me a despair, yours, and I'll tell you mine. Meanwhile, the wind and the clear pebbles of the rain, no, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscape, over the prairies and the deep trees. trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself up to your imagination, calls out to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over announcing your place in the family of things. Yeah. Rahima. Yes, Margaret Postlethwaite, The Clearing. She said, don't try to save the whole world or do anything ostentatious. Instead, create a clearing in the dense forest of your life. Wait there patiently until the song that is your life falls into your own cupped hands and you recognize and welcome it. Only then can you know how to give yourself to this world so worthy of rescue. Margaret Postlethwaite. Next. What is it? Oh my God, perfect, perfect, perfect. This is one of the last poems that Gwendolyn McEwen wrote. Hang on. She said, let me make this perfectly clear. I have never written anything because it is a poem. That's a mistake you always make about me, a dangerous one, I promise you. I'm not writing this because it is a poem. You suspect this is a posture or an act? I'm sorry to tell you it is not an act. You actually think I care if this poem gets off the ground or not. Well, I don't care if this poem gets off the ground or not, and neither should you. All I have ever cared about, and all you should ever care about, is what happens when you lift your eyes from the page. The poem does not matter. You can shove the poem. What matters is out there in the large dark and the long light, breathing. Out there in the large dark and the long light is the breathless poem, as beautiful and ruthless and amoral as the world is, as nature is. In the end, there's just me and the bloody poem, the murderous tongues of the trees, their leafy green syllables licking my mind. It's the green work of the wind. Out there, between two trees, is the poem saying, do not hate me if I peeled the veil from your eyes, or brought the darkness down upon your head, or tore your world to shreds. Here is a book of tongues. Take it. Dark leaves invade the air. Beware. Beware. Now I know a language so beautiful and lethal. My mouth bleeds when I speak it. Do not mistake me for the poets, please. I'm carrying their words. Whew. Okay. Yes. Oh, yes. Yes, Charles Simic. Gwen O'Gara loves this poem, too. It's called Stone. Go inside a stone. That would be my way. Let someone else become a dove or gnash with a tiger's tooth. I'm happy to be a stone. From the outside, the stone is a riddle. No one knows how to answer it. But on the inside, it must be cool and quiet. Even though a cow steps on it full weight, even though a child throws it in the river, the stone sinks slow to the river bottom where the fishes come to knock on it and listen. I've seen sparks fly out. I've seen sparks fly out when two stones are rubbed. So perhaps it's not dark inside after all. Perhaps there is a moon shining from somewhere, as though behind a hill, just enough light to make out the strange writings, the star charts on the inner walls. Yes, yes. How we doing? Okay? Yes?
I also lost my home,
Well, my dear.
but I do remember the name of the poem was Phaeton.
Was what, please?
Phaeton, by Apollo. Phaeton.
Oh, Phaeton. Oh, well, good. Good. I found this poem in a high school English textbook. Not my high school. All those books went down the Mississippi River in a flood. Apollo through the heavens rode in glittering gold attire. His car was bright with chrysolite, and his horses snorted fire. He held them to their frantic course across the blazing sky. His darling son was Phaeton, who begged to have a try. Oh, the chargers are ambrosia fed. They barely brook control. Beware on high the crab, the bear, the serpent round the pole. Against the archer and the bear, thy form is all unsteeled. But Phaeton could lay it on, and Apollo had to yield. Out of the purple doors of dawn, Phaeton led the horses. They felt his hand, could not command. They left their wonted courses, and out of the chariot, Phaeton plunged like a falling star. And so, my boy, no, my boy, you cannot have the car. Laughter is good. Yes? Oh, well, why not? Why not? The sign, yeah, this is one of mine. It's in the book. It's in the book. The sign said, poetry, body, and fender repair. In smaller print, domestic only, and in smaller print, English major on duty. Well, my dented poem about old age and hair coloring had some problems, so I pushed it in the open door. May we be of service, sir? Well, My poem has a slow leak, and now and then the steering is loose. Oh, that's dreadful. Have you discerned anything else, sir? Well, it starts okay, but it loses speed when I change direction. Has it been repaired before, sir? Too many times, I'm afraid. Sir, it appears your poem has met with a collision. A collision? How can you tell? Well, there's a plethora of indications. There is a murmur, a susurrus actually, under the hood, and it's leaking vowels at an appalling rate. Plethora? Susurrus? Appalling? I don't use words like that. Well, that's your problem, sir. Good day. Way in the back. Oh. Rilke. He said, and I think perhaps this poem he's having a conversation with the divine. I don't know. But he said, I'm too alone in this world, or not alone enough to make every minute holy. I'm too tiny in the world, or not tiny enough, just to lie before you like a thing, shrewd and secretive. I want my own will, and I want simply to be with my will as it goes towards action. And in those quiet, hardly moving times when something is coming near, I want to be with those who know secret things, or else alone. And I never want to be blind or too old to hold up your heavy and swaying picture. I want to unfold. I don't want to be folded anywhere, because where I am folded, there I am a lie. I want my grasp of things to be true before you. I want to describe myself like a painting I've looked at closely for a long time. Like a saying I finally understood. Like a picture I use every day. I want to describe myself like the ship that took us safely through the wildest storm of all. Yes?
My person who joined the Great Migration also, so I don't recall the poet, but I believe it was called Street Sweeper, and the first line was, she had a purpose.
Oh, yes. It's by another local poet, Corleen van Sluicer. And it's called The Street Cleaner. The Street Cleaner. She had a purpose, cleaning the streets. Some days it was dirt. Some days it was trash. Some days it was rose petals from the funeral marches, strewn on the roads by insane mothers and fathers who lost their sons and daughters, infants and grandchildren to the war. She heard the voices which arose from the dead, bodies never buried. Then, broom in hand, she made little circles of rose petals in the quiet places to honor them. A touch of beauty, she thought, in this time of darkness. Then, broom in hand, she went ahead, cleaning. Yeah, good poem. There is a poem that I know I put in the mix that I've moved to recite now. It's by Yehudi Amichai, the Israeli poet, and it's called The Diameter of the Bomb. The diameter of the bomb was 30 centimeters. The diameter of its effective range, about 18 meters, with 4 dead and 11 wounded. And around these, in a larger circle of pain and time, 2 hospitals are scattered and 1 graveyard. But the young woman who was buried at the city she came from at over 100 kilometers increases the distance considerably. And the solitary man mourning her death, the distant shores of a country far across the sea, includes the entire world in the circle. And I won't even mention the crying of orphans, which reaches up to the throne of God and beyond, making a circle with no end and no God. How we doing? Yes, dear.
Can you say the Wendell Berry poem about the
Yeah, the gardener. Yeah, William Wendell-Berry. And Wendell-Berry has a farmer's tan. That is, his face is really red from here down, but then it's white up there. Wendell-Berry, the gardener, the grower of trees, the man born to farming, whose hands reach into the soil and sprout. To him, the soil is a divine drug. He reaches into death yearly and comes back rejoicing. He has seen the sun lie down in the dung heap and rise again in the corn. His thoughts move across the row ends like a mole. What miraculous seed has he swallowed that the unfinished sentence of his love flows from his mouth like a vine, clinging in the sunlight, like water descending in the dark? Yes. Yes, Jasmine.
Sophia DeMello Brenner? I'm listening, but I don't know.
Oh, good. I put her over here. She's a Portuguese poet, and I think she's been listening to what's been going on. The poem goes, I'm listening, but I don't know if what I hear is silence or God. I'm listening, but I can't tell if I hear the plain of emptiness echoing, or a keen consciousness that at the ends of the universe deciphers and watches me. I only know that I put into my every movement solemnity and risk. I'm going to look at my watch. I'm going to do this because I don't know. Guess what? It was the man born to farming. There is a synchronicity. Here's a W.H. Auden. It's called Funeral Blues. I took this poem on in the 80s and 90s when so many men, so many of my friends were dying of HIV and AIDS. So this is a poem by W.H. Auden for his lover called Funeral Blues. Stop all the clocks. Cut off the telephone. Prevent the dog from barking with a juicy bone. Silence the piano, and with muffled drum, bring out the coffin. Let the mourners come. Let the aeroplane circle, moaning overhead, scribbling on the sky the message, he is dead. Put crepe bows round the necks of the public doves. Let traffic policemen wear black cotton gloves. He was my north, my south, my east and west, my working week, my Sunday rest, my noon, my midnight, my talk, my song. I thought love would last forever, but I was wrong. The stars are not wanted now, put out every one. Pack away the moon and dismantle the sun. Pour away the oceans and sweep up the woods, for nothing now can ever come to any good. May I grab one more?
When you're done with that one, would you do Wendell Berry's The Piece of Wild Things, please?
Say it again.
Wendell Berry's The Piece of Wild Things.
I don't know that poem. Well, I know the poem very well, but I don't know the poem. And I have great allegiance to the poets that, yes, they work hard to get those words. Yes?
I've heard from some guy named Doug von Koss. Waiting Goodbye.
What is it?
Waiting Goodbye.
Oh, okay. Waving goodbye. New suitcase in one hand, car keys in the other, and finally off to college for the first time. Looking back past the walnut tree, a last glance at the old house. His family still waving goodbye, goodbye behind the screened-in porch. Shifting gears on Main Street, thinking of things left behind. His old room, a medal from track, and a closet full of memories, and old clothes still too good to give away. Homecoming for the Thanksgiving feast, stunned at the barrenness of his room. A single change of socks and underwear in the upper right-hand drawer of the otherwise empty chest. At Christmas, staring down the hallway, past the presents and the lighted tree, he saw his room was gone, the doorway and the door across from his brother's room. At spring break, standing under the walnut tree, looking again at the screened-in porch, he was certain the house was gone. Trying one last time in June, the tree was gone, the porch was gone, Main Street nowhere to be found. Driving away past his disappearing high school, thinking of, wondering, was there a medal from track? Had he ever had a brother? Clutching the wheel in front, he knew he'd better hurry. His road disappearing, his town disappearing, and in the rearview mirror, was that his life slowly waving goodbye, goodbye? Well, you brought it on yourself. You can. Well, oh gosh, so many poems. Yes, I have to do it. Greg Kimura. The poem is called Cargo. Cargo. You enter life a ship laden with meaning and purpose and gifts, sent to be delivered to a hungry world. And as much as the world needs your cargo, you need to give it away. Everything depends on this. But the world forgets its needs, you forget your mission, and the ancestral maps needed to guide you have become faded scrawls on the parchment of dead pharaohs. The cargo weighs you heavy the longer it is held, and spoilage becomes a risk. The ship sputters from port to port, and at each you ask, is this the way? But the way cannot be found without knowing the cargo. And the cargo cannot be known without recognizing it is simply this. You have gifts. The world needs your gifts. You need to deliver them. The world may not know it's starving, but the hungry know, and they will find you when you discover your cargo and start to give it away. Okay, one last poem. Oh, why not? Why not? This is the strangest little rilke. And I love it. He said, once more, my deeper life goes on. Once more, my deeper life goes on. Well, is that something? I know the banks through which it moves had widened out. Hi. Once more, my deeper life goes on with more strength, as if the banks through which it moved had widened out. Trees and stones seem more like me each day, and the paintings I see seem more seen into. With my senses, as with the birds, I fly out of the mighty oak into the windy heavens, and in the pond, broken off from the blue sky, my feeling sinks as if standing on fishes. Thank you.